Snake Eyes Tea Party.
And again, we're in the world of futuristic, so for us, we're into plasma pulse and other things like that. This is fantastic.
And awesome. Fantastic awesome. What do you guys want to know about the show? I think probably when we come up to the mic.
I'm not actually asking questions. I'm here. You can line up behind me.
Do you have a question?
So, Cobra Commander and Duke walk into a bar.
Not on our series.
Yeah, that actually addresses my question. What sort of rating are you going for, and what sort of content is acceptable as far as violence and more mature themes, people getting hurt, etc., etc.? Are you going for more resolute or more classic G.I. Joe and jump out of the plane before it gets hit?
Everyone loves Resolute. Resolute was made for me, it was made for this guy, it was made for everybody over the age of 18. If we kept doing that, then, you know,
this dude who's
this guy right here,
Snake Eyes,
isn't going to have a G.I. Joe.
We are making this show for Snake Eyes.
And there are a lot of, there are a lot of things that we have to be concerned about as a responsible network. And we are a kids network. And we want to make sure that this G.I. Joe, while still being action-packed, while still being awesome, is appropriate for this guy. But the level of storytelling, the characters, you're going to love it too. We have to be responsible, and we are. We are a responsible network for kids.
But one thing I will say is I feel like since the 80s series, and this is across TV in general, the expectations of television have changed. And I don't think you can have a character get hit in an episode anymore and not have some ramification of that in the next episode. So for us, we have self-contained stories every episode, but the broader swath is from relationships, from kind of long-term character arcs. You track them episode to episode, and if we have a character get hurt, which we do, they're still hurt the next episode. There's a real price to pay for that. I think, again, we kind of come at this, a lot of us have worked in primetime for animation, or audition animation, and we really did try to bring that level of storytelling. You don't have to talk down to Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes will get it, and the idea is...
He might not be able to tell you that he gets it.
He gets it, exactly. But Snake Eyes will get it. So, again, it really is trying to appeal to as many fans as possible, including the new ones we're trying to recruit. But there's stuff in there for you too, I promise you, because that's what we write it for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was just curious, it seems like stylistically this is a lot more like Resolute than like the movie. And I'm just curious why the decision was made to kind of go in that, to use the style from Resolute more so than to sort of incorporate, kind of what was in the movie as well.
Well, I think that, you guys can answer this too, but I think that, I think in looking at doing a new version of G.I. Joe, it's not that we made a decision to go Resolute versus movie. I think that we really wanted to make a show that harkened back to classic G.I. Joe and took it to a new place. So I think that in looking at it, I think what was great about Resolute is, like Ted said, that was made for hardcore G.I. Joe fans who loved the show in the 80s. So I think what we did is we went back to the same source material that Resolute did and said, well, what do we love, what works, and what can we tweak? I mean, this really is like G.I. Joe year one for us. So, if you looked at Resolute as like the penultimate G.I. Joe battle, it was like the Dark Knight Returns of G.I. Joe. This is like G.I. Joe year one.
And just one other little thing to throw in there, because at the very beginning, obviously, we talked about different ways of producing the animation for the show. We could have gone into an all CG, we could have done a CG 2D hybrid, and ultimately we decided to go with largely straight 2D because it let us have the most access to the most characters. One of the things about CG is the most time-consuming and expensive part of it all is building your characters. We want the widest swath of G.I. Joe characters we can possibly have. That means we want to go with a more classic cartoon look as opposed to a live-action feature look or a CG look.
All right, thank you.
Hi guys, we're looking forward to this, we're excited, but we're wondering, Bazooka bidded on, Renegade, or the Resolute. How about bringing them back? I mean, origin stories, It was hard seeing him.
There doesn't seem to be a lot of support for Bazooka.
I know, I see it.
And one person
I'm
was
just saying, I mean,
This
it
guy.
was great to see that you move forward in characters and, some realism, Major Blood, Bazooka, eye for an eye, but
I would say to you that at this moment, at least one of those two characters you just mentioned is in the show. And obviously, we hope to be doing this for 5, 6, 7 years, so we'd like to bring in everyone and anyone you can think of. And yes, the beauty of going back to year one is we can actually bring back characters who have had things happen to them in other incarnations.
and also about the animation style. Everybody's saying it looks like the other show. To me, it looks like Sigma 6 in a way. It kind of has that same vibe, which is good, but I hope the stories are more, brought up. Because Sigma 6 seems just kind of flat.
Do you want to address whether those stories are better than Sigma 6?
I never saw Sigma 6, so I can't really say. But I'm told that our stories are better.
But no, we hear you. I mean, so basically, synopsis of what you just said, Bazooka, Major Blood, good story.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good notes.
No, I think you have to get that one.
Hi, good afternoon. I realized I was looking through the designs. It feels very movie-esque. Was that the original intention for the designs of the characters to be very inclined to how the movie is, to movie designs, than it is to like a regular, all the creatures we've seen before?
The guy before you completely disagreed.
I think so far, no, this is actually a good thing, but so far we've got, well, it looks kind of like classic and not movie. It looks like the movie. It looks kind of like Sigma 6. I think we're doing a good job. I think if you liked any of those things, clearly you like the show.
Yeah, I was one of the few people actually enjoyed the movie very much, so.
The one thing I will say is, as far as from, again, the very beginning point, we definitely wanted to be epic insofar as, movies tend to be epic. So we came from an epic place. This isn't 4 characters in a room talking. This is epic, that music, everything, the feel of the show is supposed to feel the game.
Thank you.
Or epic.
Well, I'm going to keep saying it.
I'll add,
Joe, it's epic.
when we look at the brand, all these things are assets. We don't really talk about them in terms of movie, Sigma 6, or American Hero. They're just part of the brand. So we pull from any place to make the next best thing.
Yeah.
So everything's gonna be somewhat familiar no matter where you're coming from.
Will there be any mention of Sergeant Slaughter and his infamous slaughterhouse?
Sergeant Slaughter, the Hasbro exclusive down at the Hasbro Toy Shop.
Everyone remembers the animated movie when when Falcon gets kicked out of the chopper and is told you have to hike to the slaughterhouse for breakfast. So there has to be something to give that to.
We're told that every morning before we come to work.
You too? Well, like Jeff said, I mean, the goal here in the show is that we're going back to year one so everybody can show up.
I would say if you don't see him at first, just keep watching. Which, by the way, is just us anyway, so keep watching.
Everybody was only 26 voices.
Hi. I grew up in the 80s, as much as many of us have too, and we grew up with G.I. Joes being real American heroes. How are you guys going to portray that? It seems like we're going with more of an anti-hero format. How is Renegades going to change the look of the Joes in that way?
I don't think they're anti-heroes in the classic sense because we, the audience, know that they have been wrongly accused. And along the way, in their travels, others around them, it's the same thing, I don't know, some of you may be familiar with